Hi, I'm Danny with eTrailer, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Underbed Installation Kit for the B&W Companion fifth wheel hitch on our 2015 Chevrolet Silverado 2500. What's nice about this gooseneck hitch is that it is a turnover ball, meaning that this will flip over, and now you have full bed access. Again, it's all fairly flat to your bed. You can throw things in here when you're done using it. Another cool thing about this one in particular is it is compatible with the B&W Companion fifth wheel hitch. That will drop in the same way that this drops in. And our neighbor today is actually going to get the fifth wheel Companion on the slider base today due to his shorter bed. So if you are shopping around to see what kind of gooseneck you're going to put in your vehicle, I would recommend the B&W due to its high quality build. It is American made, and us in the shop, we do prefer it because it is way easier to install. So that's something to consider if you're installing it yourself as well. So this kit comes with a 2 5/16 ball, and when you're towing, it has a gross towing capacity of 30,000 pounds. That is the trailer plus whatever's inside of it. And then you have a vertical load limit. That is the load pushing down on the ball, and that is going to be 7,500 pounds. Do check the capacities of your vehicle and go by the lesser of the two numbers. Another cool feature is the safety chains are spring loaded, so they will always pull back down into this groove here, giving it that flush look as well. And they're super easy to use. You can use them with a Clevis style or an S style safety chain. And if you're ready to turn your ball over to tow or to have it in the stowed position, this is the handle on the driver's side. It is in the out position right now, but to lock it in place, you just want to pull back and it'll spring back. And to pull it out, you just want to pull it out and then twist the back towards the cab, and that'll lock it into place. So here's what it looks like underneath the bed. As you can see, it's got that classic B&W gray powder coat, which is very nice and can withstand the test of time. As far as the install goes, it's fairly simple. You could probably do it in a day. There is a lot of hard to get torque angles, so you may need a crow's foot, so keep that in mind. But if that's not something you're into, then go ahead and check out our dealer locator, and we can find a professional to do it for you. But without further ado, let's get into the install. So to start off the installation, we did take down the spare tires. It's going to make it easier to get up under here. And another thing to keep in mind is if your truck has airbag suspension, like we did today, I had to remove these U-bolts and put it in the bolt into the frame instead. So that's a little prep work before we can get started here. So now we're going to cut out the heat shield that's directly above this exhaust here. On this side of the roof rail facing the cab, and then on the other side as well. And to cut this out, you can use tin snips, but I'm going to use a multi-tool to make it a little easier. All right, now with this cut out, you can go ahead and remove this piece. So now the next step is you're going to want to determine where you're going to cut your hole. So the measurements are going to be different in the instructions for 8-foot beds or short beds. But what you're going to want to do is hook your tape measure on your into the bed, not the tailgate, and mark your measurement. And then you're going to want to find the perfect middle. So of course you just want to measure between your wheel wells and cut that in half. So first I'm going to go through with a 1/4-inch drill bit, and then I'm going to go back with the hole saw. And you're going to want to file down the edges if there is a lot of burrs on here. Now I'm just going to vacuum up the mess. And now I'm going to just spray paint the edge to prevent corrosion or rust in the future. So now we're at the passenger side here, and we're going to need to cut a notch out of this wheel well liner to slide our rails in. So I kind of marked it out. It's right directly above your suspension here. A little bit in front of that rail is where I'm cutting it. So I did have to make this hole a lot bigger than the instructions said. I just kind of worked at it, test fit it, and then came back and cut more out. But I did pretty much cut flush with this radius here of the bed liner. But now I'm gonna go ahead and put my rail in. So again, I'm on the passenger side, and the holes, you're gonna wanna face those towards the tailgate. So I'm gonna get this in here, slide this to the other side. Now I've got my rear cross member, and you may want to run the bolts through all these threaded holes here just to make sure there's no paint in there, and you have an easy time getting those in there. But now I'm going to go, once I pushed that first cross member up towards the cab, I'm going to go ahead and put this one in there as well. You may notice that these are closer to one side, it's offset. We will be pulling that down like this, so the offset holes will be closer to the ground. But now I'm gonna go and slide this through. So now we're gonna go ahead and flip this up in the position we need it. You can use like a crescent wrench, or I'm gonna use vice grips to get a better hold of it. It can be kind of tight. I'm just gonna flip that up. So now the front cross member here, closest to the driver's side, we're going to get our bolt in through the back side. It is the second from the left-hand side if you're looking towards the cab. And then we're going to get this rubber O-ring on there because this is going to be sitting up behind the fuel tank. And you're going to want to push that as far as possible. So this will hold your bolt in for you while you're putting your nut on. So now you're going to want to push this front cross member past your hole here, your cutout. It may be kind of hard to get up around this gas tank, but you can kind of just push it back there, and then you're going to want to rotate it so the holes are facing us. So now I'm going to go ahead and lift up this center section. Make sure the handle is facing the driver's side. And I'm going to kind of get this at an angle here, up around the exhaust. So once we got into place, I had somebody on top put this lifting device that we made to get that secured under the bed. You can use maybe like a couple buckets, 2x4, and like a ratchet strap if you don't have that device. But now I'm gonna go ahead and try and get our bolts in. And with this centered up and tight against the bed, we can get these bolts on and our locking washer and our bolt on. You do want to get that one we did that was locked in with that O-ring. Probably want to get that one first. We did struggle a bit because this isn't the stock gas tank, so it's a little tight. That's why we couldn't really show you. But yeah, once you get that on, we can go ahead and put the bolts in the back plate as well. So now we can go ahead and line up our rear crossbar with our center section, line up those threaded holes, and push it tightly against it. And then you're going to get your bolt. You want to have your lock washer and then your regular washer on there, and we can just thread all those on. So now you're going to want to thread your bolt onto your bolt guide. This is going to help us put the bolts on. Kind of just want to get it started. Then you're probably going to have to go down with it with a 15/16 drill bit. And you kind of just want it to touch those grooves there, and you don't want to depress those because that'll hold the bolt into place. And you can see the angled part is down, the head's on top of that. And then this is the orientation of the long one. So we're on the inside passenger side right now, and I'm putting the bolt in. And I'm gonna feel with my finger so I can get it where we need it. And There, we have it through. Now we can do the other side. So now still on the passenger side here towards the cab, we want to get it through this hole in the frame. This one is kind of tight, so you want to position the head parallel to the bolt guide. And this one's going to be a little difficult to get in because that bolt's pretty long. So I'm going to bend this actually fully back just to get it in here, just enough. And then I'm going to bend it back out using the frame like that, and now I can get it in. So now this is the driver's side under the bed. So I had to cut this bolt guide because these lines were in the way, so I couldn't get that pivot to pivot around them. So I just cut it right before them, and I was able to get it in that way. So now we're going to go ahead and put the driver's side plate on first. And you can tell it's the driver's side because it does have the handle diagram on it. But I'm going to go ahead and carefully put this up here. Try not to back our bolts out. Pull it out, make sure it doesn't back itself out. Then I can push this up. And get this one through as well. Now I can go and put the hardware on. So I'm going to put the washer, lock washer, and nut on there. And right now I'm just going to get everything hand tight. So I'm going to do the other one and the other side as well. And now I'm going to go ahead and get my 1.5" bolts up through the top of this bracket, through our cross member, and then into our bracket. You may have to find the sweet spot. And then we're going to put our washer, our locking washer, and our nut on. Now on the tailgate side, you want to put your locking washer and then your regular washer on your bolt. And then this one is the threaded side. So you're just going to want to find your hole and thread it in. And I'm going to do that on the other side as well. And now we'll go ahead and tighten up our center section, all 8 on both sides. So once everything's tightened up on both sides, the 1.5 inch on this side and the 2-inch bolts on this side, we can go ahead and measure to the nearest cross beam on the cab, or the truck bed, I'm sorry. So as you can see, ours is just under 1 inch, so I'm going to go ahead and do this on the passenger side. And if it is a little off, then we can go ahead and kind of give a smack with a hammer and make sure it's square to the vehicle. And now we can tighten the plate to our frame with our 15/16 socket here. So now lastly, we're going to go ahead and tighten the bolts that connect our side plate to our cross members. So I'm going to try and get a 3/4 inch ratchet on here. It's a little hard to see. And now with everything tightened up, we can go ahead and torque everything down in that same order. And if you don't have a torque wrench at home, you usually can buy one at your local auto parts store, or you can purchase one here at eTrailer. So for the handle to disengage the locking mechanism on the gooseneck, you're going to want to cut out some of the bed liner so when you pull this out, it has a nice area of travel. So under the vehicle, we actually fed the handle through this hole in the center section and then out to the wheel well, and then we bolted it in place. So for the safety chain loops, I went up underneath here, got center best I could, and drilled up through the bed, through the top. And now I'm going to go up top and go down with a step bit to the size I need. Now I'm just going to open these holes up with the step bit until these can slide in nicely. And don't forget to spray your holes so that it prevents rust. Now I'll put these back in and tighten them down on the other side. Okay, and now we can put our springs on underneath our safety loops and our nut on. And now I'm going to tighten these up just till they're flush with the end of our safety chain loop. And that was a look at the Underbed Installation Kit for the B&W Companion fifth wheel hitch on our 2015 Chevrolet Silverado 2500.